Namaste everyone, Christian Long, Life Enhancement Consulting, giving you a big and beautiful shout out here on the Healer's Journey, day 5 of 31 in Cougar, hopefully I'm saying this right, and it's not Courage, Cougar, Washington. So I'm about 30 minutes from Mount St. Helens. I ended up visiting that earlier today, but there was no cell phone or Wi-Fi connection anywhere to be found in the area. So I just did a separate video that I'll be posting later on Facebook to give you guys a little view of the area. But I did the Twin Hats meditation there, and it was super profound. I was like blissed out of my mind. Like intensely blissed out of my mind. I could barely get back into my body to be able to get into the car and safely drive away. But it was super, super blissful. So where am I right now? Well, this place is called Cougar, Washington. It's a teeny tiny itty bitty baby town that I was looking for. Where am I going to set up shop for tonight? I had a healing Osman, Namaste. I had a healing client to work with. We ran over today, which is okay. Hopefully he got lots of value. That's the whole point. Value, transformation, strengthening the connection to the higher soul. And I found this place. It's a family-owned business. They bought it 3 years ago, and it's like a campground, RV and tents. So I was looking for a place of where I could set up my shop, my tent, before I leave in the morning, because tomorrow morning I'm going to Antelope, Oregon, which is about 4 hours from here. And Antelope, Oregon is where Osho, the spiritual teacher, had one of his ashrams in the 80s. And there's a Netflix documentary on it called Wild Country. I recommend checking it out. I think it's six episodes, each about an hour and a half. And it's very interesting of all the stuff that went down at this particular location. So I'm doing it myself to check it out. But before I go, I want to give you guys a view of this adorable, super sweet, family-owned business, and give them props. I'm going to turn off my car here. Oh, whoops. Pranic healing on the move, indeed. All right, so check this out. So the reception should be good for you guys, but you want to look how adorable this is. It's a lot different than the hotel room that I was staying in yesterday. Ready? Look at how adorable is that? Look at that. Cute little picnic table with green, I don't know, whatever on it. And then these are people that are setting up shop. Some of these people will stay here for a couple weeks or even a couple months. Everyone's super friendly. So the cabins are over there, little baby cabins, and then the tents are over here. I bought myself some firewood today. Those are the owners sitting on the property, mixing it up. So if I lose the cell phone reception, my apologies, but I should be close enough to the Wi-Fi router. So this is where all the tent setups are. And he told me about the most quiet, most requested tent setup. And I was like, that's the one that I want. Done and done. And there's a rooster that's on the property that is super jacked up. So again, this is Cougar, Washington. And I have never seen so much green in my entire life. Look at the size of these trees. I mean, look at them. They're ginormous. Right? Do you see it? So I got my, what the heck was that? I got my tent set up. I got my little chair out, and I got a fire pit. So I bought myself some firewood. I'm gonna have myself a fire today. Ta-da! So right over to the right is where I'm parking my car. And then I'll be probably leaving at like 6:30 in the morning, getting on the road. I have 2 clients, something like that in the afternoon. Fire purification tonight, Lord Agni. Oh yeah, you know how we're getting after it. So that's the spot, guys. That's where all the magic's happening for this evening. There's something I was going to say about the fire pit. Oh, so check this out. When my body was young, I'm still on, like an animal. So I was going to share with you when I was a teenager, 14, 15, 16 years old, my father loved to have a fire going every night because at our house in Berlin, Massachusetts, we had a huge fireplace. We actually had a couple fireplaces, but we only used one. Had a huge fireplace that my dad always wanted to use instead of running the heat because we had electric heat. So during the winter time, I kid you not, it was $600 a month just for the heat. Just for heat was $600 a month. So my dad was always like, look, we're going to buy wood. We're going to split the wood. We're going to stack it underneath the balcony, the porch, and then we're going to burn that throughout the winter time. And so that's what we did. So 14, 15, 16 years old, I would spend a lot of time cutting wood. And I thoroughly enjoyed it, right? The picking up the axe, the mallet, like smashing it, ripping apart the wood, splitting it, having it shoot off in different places. I used to have actually, I'd hit the wood so hard that it would shoot out and end up going into my shin bone, like flecks of wood, like not into the bone, but into my skin. But I loved it. It was like super rewarding, right? So if you picture like Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger in the beginning of the movie where he's cutting wood, it was like we were rocking it out like that. Now I wasn't carrying a tree trunk on my shoulder down a steep in-bank, but nonetheless it was pretty sweet. So that's me jumping on tonight with you guys. Osman, you're so funny. I'm super grateful for each and every one of you that log on, that ask questions, that add value. Look at this. Look at how much greenery this is. It's insane. There's so much green here, it blows my mind. And the smells, the fragrances is intoxicating. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So thank you guys for joining me in this little moment. I'm going to wind down for the day, probably get something to eat, and then get to bed early so I can get up early. And everyone's super, super friendly here. I love being around friendly people, don't you? And if I can be of service to you, if you need healing, if you need transformation, feel free to reach out to me at christianrlong.com. It's my website, best way of getting a hold of me. And I look forward to helping you with your transformation. Osman says, you must master fire starter. It takes skills to set a fire and keep it going. True. When did I first start doing fires? I think when I was 15, 16 years old, my friends and I used to go to this place called 40 Caves. God, I haven't thought of that name in like 25 years. So my father owned 4 acres of land, and behind that land was a railroad tracks, and on the other side of the railroad tracks was just this property that nobody owned. It was in the woods. It was probably owned by the city, and it was called 40 Caves. So they had caves all over the place that you could go in and hang out, but there's also wide open areas that you could just have bonfires, and you were by a creek, and it was really beautiful. And I remember, God, I'm having so many flashbacks. What's happening? I remember that my friends wanted me to tell them ghost stories because they said I was a good storyteller, right? Even then, back in the dizzy, 14, 15, 16 years old. And I remember telling a story that was a combination of my imagination and a story that I read in a Time Life book about the paranormal. And so I combined 2 elements, and 2 of my friends were terrified. They were big guys, like over 6 feet tall. They were terrified of this story, and they couldn't sleep for the rest of the night. And one of my friends brought that story up years later on how terrified he was. And I was like, I was just telling a story, man. We don't know if it's true. And I threw in some other elements to it as well. What are you getting all worked up about, right? I know 40 Caves is an interesting name. I wonder if there are actually 40 caves there, because I never remember seeing 40 caves, but I do remember it being a beautiful place. I haven't been back to that area since I was, I don't know, 19 maybe, something like that. It's been a while. It's been over 20 years. I wonder if it's even there. Like, did they just bulldoze the whole area, took out the caves, the trees, the creek, and then built something right by the railroad tracks? I'm not quite sure. But this place is magical. If you've never been to Washington State, I highly recommend it. It is absolutely gorgeous. And there's no bugs, which I thought there was going to be a lot of fat, chunky bugs, like mosquitoes trying to get up in my face, or gnats or whatever. No bug problems. Everyone's really friendly. But everything is so green. So green. I love it. I don't know about you. I couldn't live in the desert. I've done the beach thing. I've lived by the beach. I've done the prairies. I've lived by the prairies. That's fun. But people that live in the desert, I don't know how they do it. But I'm going to be having an experience of that relatively soon. So I'll keep you posted. So, love you guys very much. Enjoy the rest of your day, evening, or whatever time you're watching this. And I look forward to serving you in the near future. This is Christian Long, Life Enhancement Consultant, wishing you a beautiful day, a beautiful week, and a beautiful life. Atma, namaste. Bye-bye.